Every major investigation has a moment when the evidence stops making sense. For investigators examining a security breach at a large logistics facility, that moment arrived during a routine review of surveillance footage. The company had reported the disappearance of high-value electronic components worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. There were no signs of forced entry, no alarms, and no unauthorized access alerts. Everything pointed toward an insider operation. As investigators reviewed overnight footage, they noticed a familiar figure moving through a restricted corridor. The man wore a security uniform and appeared to be one of the facility's senior security guards. At first, nothing seemed unusual. But when investigators checked employment records, they found a contradiction that changed the case entirely. The guard had clocked out nearly 3 hours earlier. Vehicle records showed him leaving the property, and supervisors confirmed he had gone home. Yet the cameras showed him inside the building long after his shift had ended. If he had already left, why was he still appearing on camera? The guard had worked at the facility for 7 years and maintained an excellent reputation. He was trusted by management and familiar with every corner of the property. The facility itself relied on extensive security measures, including hundreds of cameras, electronic access cards, and detailed incident logs. Every movement through restricted areas generated digital records. Investigators initially suspected a technical malfunction. They analyzed camera timestamps, server logs, and video metadata. Digital forensic specialists verified that the footage was authentic and accurately timed. The recordings had not been altered. The man seen on camera truly appeared there hours after the guard had officially left. Investigators expanded their review and reconstructed the entire evening using footage from multiple cameras. The figure appeared repeatedly near freight elevators, storage rooms, and restricted inventory areas linked to the theft. However, one detail stood out. No camera ever showed him entering the facility. Gate records showed no returning vehicle. Access control logs showed no authorized reentry. It was as if he had appeared inside the building without passing through any monitored checkpoint. Attention shifted to access car records. Analysts discovered that doors near the figure were being opened using credentials belonging to several employees. One credential appeared more frequently than the others. It belonged to a warehouse supervisor. Records showed he reported an access card lost months earlier and received a replacement. Investigators later discovered the original card had never been fully deactivated because of a software configuration error. Someone still possessed a working credential that should not have existed. Frame-by-frame analysis of the footage revealed subtle inconsistencies. The figure strongly resembled a security guard, but his posture, stride, and body movements were slightly different. Specialists concluded that the similarities were intentional. Someone was deliberately imitating the guard. Investigators then reviewed older security reports and found a note written weeks before the theft. The guard had documented seeing an unidentified individual wearing clothing similar to facility-issued gear. At the time, the incident seemed unimportant. Now it suggested that someone had been studying security routines long before the crime occurred. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered the theft had not happened in a single night. Inventory records revealed losses stretching back months. Small amounts had been removed gradually to avoid detection. The breakthrough came from a rarely reviewed exterior camera. During a brief moment, the disguised figure adjusted his sleeve, exposing a distinctive wrist brace. Records showed only one employee at the facility wore that type of brace during the relevant period, the warehouse supervisor. The truth finally became clear. The warehouse supervisor had secretly retained the old access card and used it to move through restricted areas without raising suspicion. He carefully studied the security guard routines and copied his appearance well enough to mislead anyone casually reviewing the footage. Whenever cameras captured him, investigators naturally assumed they were seeing the guard. The apparent contradiction that launched the investigation was actually the key to solving it. Financial records later revealed unexplained income connected to stolen inventory sold through outside contacts. Surveillance footage, access logs, inventory reports, and forensic analysis combined to expose a scheme. The warehouse supervisor was arrested and charged for his role in the theft operation. Following the case, the company overhauled its security procedures, strengthened credential controls, and implemented stricter monitoring systems. What initially appeared to be impossible evidence ultimately revealed a carefully planned deception. The cameras captured the figure perfectly, but it took investigators months to understand who they were really looking at.